Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Hopefully, you make this the greatest week ever. Keeping your head to the light, keeping your motivation high, moving forward. Forward ever, backward never. That's what we say. Won't be before you very long today. Just want to have a few conversations as we are moving through this year, 2022. April already, man, is flying by the time, and um, every minute should not be wasted. We're out here, as we say, grinding, but at the same time, pacing ourselves because I think society is moving at a different pace nowadays. And we're just still motivated to getting things done, to advancing culture, to selling coffee, of course, uh, promoting the arts, advocating for the arts, culture, telling our story. That's what we're all about out here. To that end, really happy to be partnered up with Albert Lord and the African American Heritage Legacy Project community build over there in Lamert Park, right? We've been crafting a series, if you will, through Coffee Conversations with Greg J on the creative economy with a special lens towards African Americans in the classical music genre. And I think that when we begin to talk about the creative economy in this space of recovery that we're in, it is an essential segment that we would encourage people to be all about, the politicians, the community, society, school systems, remember the arts in your goings and comings because it is an essential service, right, to the well-being of the community. But this here is the creative economy, right? Things have to be paid for, musicians making a living, arts making a living. I know that I remember in Long Beach, where I'm the vice president of the Arts Council for Long Beach, uh, at the height of the pandemic, we had the hashtag Keep Arts Working and was able to provide necessary resources to provide a measure of relief to artists, working artists, in the community. And so that's part of the creative economy. Now that we're in this recovery and monies through the government and programs and institutions are seeking how to better embrace the arts and culture sectors. We are studying that in this series of creative economy, and we're especially looking at brothers and sisters in the classical music realm. So pretty cool, cool stuff. We've also looked at performing arts organizations, not only here in Southern California, but across the nation. You know, Tony Simmons Henson came to us live from Honduras. That was dope. She's got the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. Pan-African Film Festival is opening. That is always a special treat in the Southern California area, the largest event of its kind, films from all over the diaspora going down at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. May 7th, the Arts Council for Long Beach is teaming up with the League of Women Voters to do a mayoral candidates forum. The elections are coming all over the country, and here where we originate, Long Beach, California, there's a very important election, of course, for the mayor. The current mayor, Dr. Robert Garcia, is running for Congress, and now the field is wide open in Long Beach. I think I counted 12, maybe, candidates for mayor of Long Beach. I would think it's safe to say leading the pack would be Rex Richardson and Susie Price. But nonetheless, the Arts Council for Long Beach, as its role to be a voice for the arts and culture community in the city, we're convening a candidates forum May 7th over at MOLA, Museum of Latin American Art. You'll be able to also catch the stream if you can't make it over there. Starts at 10 a.m. Go to artslb.org for more information. May 14th is the second Saturday Art Walk that's happening in the East Village Arts District. We're taking over the East Village Art Park, located at 150 Elm Street in the East Village Arts District of Long Beach, California. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we're providing a day-long program of information, mindfulness, meditation. We want you to be calm and okay in these days and time. More of that later, May 14th. May 21st, the Long Beach Symphony is giving a great tribute to Aretha Franklin. Really excited about that. It's going down at the Long Beach Convention Center or the Pacific Ballroom, more specifically in that complex down there. Glad to know that the KJLH Radio Free Performance Choir will be on stage with the Long Beach Symphony. That's really, really exciting. That same day, during the day, the KJLH Women's Health Expo is coming to the Long Beach Convention Center. You could come out there and meet us. We're going to be on the exhibit floor, you know, just shaking hands and kissing babies. Well, maybe not kissing babies, but you know what I mean. We'll be out there to fellowship with you. Turning our eye to the news, I'm watching. I know that you, like many others, are kind of, shocked at the mass shootings that continue in this country. We've had a couple in the last, couple of months in 2022, and um, the suspects are brothers. The mall shooting in Sacramento, brother. What's his name? Let's see here. Wrote his name down is Dondria Martin is accused of shooting up the mall in Sacramento, California. And James Robert Harris was accused perpetrator in New York City subway. So all of a sudden, brothers are doing mass shootings. Is that what we're seeing here? I mean, that was kind of not to make it like a racial thing, because it's indeed tragic. And actually, really, it goes to show you the mental pressures that people are under. There's a lot of mentally unstable people walking around. And so, are we safe? What do we want to have happen in our streets? Is moving to more rural areas the answer? Or is it just that the people are walking around under the stress and strain of, what's going on in the world? I don't know, man. It's crazy. All we can do is pray and walk without fear. That's how I see it. Everybody's talking about the war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine is going on. Russia invading, I guess, is how the news is putting it. And it's just a bad scene. But when I look at the situation, we hear, the news, and they give us the perspective that they want us to hear about what's going on in that part of the world. I like to listen to, radio stations and news channels from all over the world, particularly Africa. And I was surprised. I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised that, they gave a more rounded perspective of what was going on, Russia versus Ukraine. And then I saw some very strong and prominent voices from the African continent who spoke out against what NATO or the United States or the West wanted them to do as a country in support of Ukraine. They said that they were not part of NATO. They were not part of the European Union. They were not part of America. And so, therefore, they did not feel the need to support Ukraine in the manner that was being asked of them by the United States, by NATO, by the European Union. It's an interesting argument. I heard a voice in South Africa say because Russia supported the movement against the apartheid government, wherein the United States didn't. When Sharpeville happened in South Africa, that's a police massacre. v- Um, Russia imposed sanctions against the apartheid government of South Africa, and United States did not. And there's stories like that all over the continent and perspectives. And so on the floor of the UN, you heard a lot of African nations speaking out and saying, we will not do what the West wants us to do because we're not part of the NATO and the European Union. And every time they are attached to it, it is always attached to some sort of movement of war. So what we see here is African nations in the global stage in the geopolitical area, clamoring for peace in the world. And I think this is an interesting perspective to examine because, yes, we do want peace in the world. And I think that on the continent, there are conflicts, armed conflicts that are happening that the world is not paying attention to. Ethiopia is one. We will be having a show on that conflict soon. Cameroon, where we import our coffee farmer direct, is also having armed conflict. In fact, yesterday, the UN opposed or the United States, I should say, imposed a protectorate status for Cameroonian citizens because that are here in the United States because there's armed conflict over there in such an intensity where their lives would be in danger if they go over there. There's a lot going on in there. There's the whole aspect of secession or separatist. That's the Ambazonia movement. We'll have to get some of my Cameroonian friends on this show so that we can examine that armed conflict there. Like I said, Ethiopia. So in the main, the global diplomats from the African continent are saying they have a perspective and they don't want to follow what the West says. And I think this also speaks to the cultural revolution that we um, are seeing after we've gone through the pandemic, after we've seen so many instances of, social justice movements. Uh, there's a cultural revolution going on, right? And so I just believe that this cultural revolution is stretching across the diaspora, all these African nations, as we've discussed. Also, in the Caribbean, Prince William and Kate Middleton were just there on their Commonwealth tour, as is customary among the British, the British Empire, the Commonwealth. They, the royals travel to visit their different nations that are under the Commonwealth, Jamaica being one of them. And so William and Kate were in Jamaica, and the prime minister said that they wanted to be a republic. They did no longer wanted to be a part of the British Commonwealth, and they wanted to be a republic and told the crown that they owe us reparations. So that's what we're seeing. Barbados broke away from the Commonwealth. Jamaica is making a move to do so. You're seeing this all over the British Commonwealth nations that are full of Black people or people of African descent. That's what we're seeing. Yeah. No, DeFrance, HB Barnum will not be a part of that. This has been arranged by the Long Beach Symphony, and it's Capathia Jenkins. You can Google her. She's a Broadway performer, and this body of work has been traveling around two different symphonies in the nation. I think it's an outstanding presentation. I firmly believe that the symphony, and we'll begin to talk about this even the more as we go down our series of the creative economy. But I really love the mashup in the symphony. You see the LA Phil doing a lot of it. I know Kenny Lattimore was at the LA Phil, Cy Smith, and I know Cy Smith has been at a number of different symphonies, even Carnegie Hall, right? You had Questlove, you have all of these mashups with symphonic instrumentation and R&B or soul or jazz singers and the like. And I think that with all due respect to the classic works, um, there's that part, but I think that new generations will enjoy the symphony experience even the more if the symphony begins to do a lot of mashups, explore contemporary expressions of music, um, and even get out of the symphony hall into the community, right? To share and expose their style of art to the community, to the people, right? I think you have to break if well, maybe that's too harsh a word, but you have to adjust the mold of what has been customary in symphonic and bring it down to the people, right? The people on the, take it down a notch, but still k- keep its upscale luster, but expose it to the masses of the people free every now and again. I don't know if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jasmine, what up? Melba Joyce. Well, you invited some people in here. Ah, ha, 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 good stuff. All right, y'all. We've been on here long enough. We're out here. I think I've covered almost everything that's on our calendar. We talked about the Women's Health Expo, May 21st. We talked about the second Saturday Art Walk on May 14th. We talked about the candidates forum by the Arts Council for Long Beach and the League of Women Voters, and letting you know that that's taking place on May 7th. That's a good one. I would love for you all to check that out. And as you whether look, we're in Southern California. Arts and culture is essential, and I think all around the county, you're really seeing a strong movement towards the arts. It's part of the fabric of who we are. And in our communities, we need to continue to raise our voice for the resources necessary. I think it's outstanding that we have the Stocker creative development project over there on Stocker and Angeles Vista, turning that whole property into a studio. That's awesome. I think it's awesome that we have the Pan African Film Festival. I think it's awesome that we have the renovation of the Vision Theater. I think it's awesome that we have the Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles, the Beckman Center for the Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles, over there in Inglewood, right around the corner from the SoFi Stadium. I think it's awesome that we have the Long Beach Symphony willing to open and diversify its menu. I think it's incredible the individual artists that are all around our region applying that God-given gift and sharing it with us. I think it's awesome that new technologies are abounding in the arts community, the NFT space. Let's not be afraid of it. Embrace it. There's a lot to learn in it, and it is what it is. It's not going anywhere, but this is arts and culture in this present day and time. And I just think our voices need to be raised in support of all of these arts disciplines. Our voices need to be raised in terms of you as the public attending and supporting these performing arts entities. You know what I'm saying? Lula Washington. It's just, just support everybody. The Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, Uh, it's just on and on and on. The places that you can support and explore the arts on a number of different levels. Well, I got my coffee from Cameroon. Man, the conflict over there is affecting trade a little bit, but we still have it. I know some of y'all are waiting for your coffee. Soon come. You'll be getting it on today. And we're just making our moves. ColumbusOnCoffeeCompany.com. All right, y'all. Just always remember, love one another. Love one another. Are you on Clubhouse yet? Get on Clubhouse and follow Blockchain Camp. Rhonda Love, our super producer, is kicking knowledge about this crypto space, right? That's what's going on. Um, Man, I forgot to talk about Elon Musk trying to take over Twitter. Oh boy, so much to talk about. Yes, Fernando Pulliam Community Arts Center, right? Nina Turner, you know what it is. It's the arts and culture entities. We got to get there and just support, and a vibrant arts community is essential, and that's just what it is. Support us, y'all. All right. Love one another. Peace and blessings.